Instagram, what's going down? Hope we are all well. Today, I'm going to be joined by Tyanne as we're going to be talking about 5 ways to be more positive. So, we are raising the positive vibes this evening, or afternoon, or morning, wherever you're joining me from. Can't get my words out today. Been on a few podcasts and that, so busy day, guys. But I'm looking forward to today's Instagram live, that is for sure, with Tyanne. And so we'll just wait for her to join us, and then we'll be discussing all about positivity. So we've got Affirmation Junkie who's joined us. We have Sana who's joined us as well. Cool. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How's your morning? Is it afternoon there now? So how's your morning?
It's afternoon. It's been going pretty good so far. I just got out of a meeting with my mentor, so talked about some good stuff, which is exciting. But yeah, it's been good. How has your day been so far?
Yeah, it's been good. A few podcasts and that. So just been on
Exciting.
that.
Okay.
Yes, just been on that content creation most of the day. So and then after this, got a few calls to wrap up the day. So
Always
busy.
busy. Yep.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
That's the best way to
Um,
be.
it is busy and moving forward in that. So today we're talking all about positivity, and then you have some ways on to help people to be more positive
Yes.
and that, which is so important. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe like actually for those who don't know who you are, if you just kind of give a little intro into who is
Yeah.
Tyanne,
Yeah.
and then we'll dive straight into it.
So, hello everybody. My name is Tyanne, and I am a lifestyle blogger as well as a social media strategist. So, on my lifestyle blog, I focus on creating a more positive mindset so that you can build the lifestyle of your dream. Having a good mindset and knowing your worth and just being positive on a daily basis allows you to manifest and attract more things into your life, such as the lifestyle of your dreams. And I also have a social media firm where I'm a social media strategist and I help influencers and small business owners to create better digital storefronts for their brands with their business social media accounts. And I focus on community interaction as well as visual strategy. So that's me. If you want to add some more positivity to your page, just follow me on Instagram at practically.poised. And if you have a business or if you're an influencer and you want to boost your following and make your page look better, you can follow me at Poised Media Firm on Instagram.
Amazing. And so with your social media, is that mostly like Instagram you help businesses work, or is that all social?
Yeah. So Instagram is the main platform that I focus on, but I have helped clients with like LinkedIn, Facebook,
Okay.
Twitter, whatever it is that they want. It's really up to what they're looking to do, and Pinterest as well. But I have been focusing, most people have been wanting Instagram services.
Okay. Makes sense. So let's dive into today's topic.
Okay.
Where did you want to start with
So
sharing?
I have a
Sorry.
list of 5 things that, I mean, and they're very simple, nothing super hard or anything, but sometimes you have to be reminded of how you can be more positive. And they're all things that we all know. And I guess I can just go through the list and you can give an opinion on ones or whatever your thoughts are on it so I don't
Yeah.
speed through it too quick.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. If we go one by one, and then if people
yeah,
have any comments or something, people who've joined
yep,
us live, and then we do it like
exactly.
that.
Okay. So my first one is to accept your flaws. Now, that sounds very simple, and I'm sure we all have heard it, but it's a lot easier said than it is done. But taking time to, really just accept who you are, how you are, and rather than being mad at the flaws that you have and working on changing them, it has a huge effect on your mind. At the end of the day, nobody is perfect, so it doesn't make sense, or it's not worth your time to sit there worrying about your imperfections, especially because you're not the only one. I'm sure there's insecurities that I have, and my neighbors next door might have insecurities, and people in different countries. Everybody has insecurities. So why not spend your time worrying about the things you love about yourself as opposed to the things you don't like about yourself?
Yeah, I echo that.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I'm not sure if one of your tips also, I don't want to kind of like jump the gun, is then to focus on their strengths, because I think
Yeah.
a lot of people, do focus on those weaknesses in that. And,
Mm-hmm.
you focus on the things like you are good at and double down on those. I'm also of the mindset of to also then improve some of your weaknesses along the way. But I think a lot of people
Exactly.
focus too much of their time on, I suck at this, I'm not good at this. And so that's obviously going to have an effect on how positive they are, or just on their overall mindset if they're constantly looking at
Exactly.
the things that they're not good at.
Exactly. Like, and I actually was just listening to a podcast the other day. It's called Secret to Success podcast. It's by Eric Thomas. He's
I
a
love that
motivational.
podcast. I love
Okay,
that
so you
podcast.
listen to it. Okay, okay. So I was listening to one of the episodes yesterday, and I don't remember which one of them was talking, but they were talking about how people spend so much more time focusing on the problems that they have. So let's say you're trying to lose weight, right? You focus on, oh, I don't like my size. I'm not comfortable with it. I want to be this size. You're so focused on what the issue is, which is the fact that you have weight on you that you don't want, as opposed to focusing on how can I solve that problem.
Mm.
People don't pay attention to what they need to solve. And I actually just talked about this on my story too. Like, you can have one problem and there's 5 to 10 solutions to fix the problem, but we keep focusing on the problem. That
Why is
doesn't
that?
get you anywhere. Yeah.
Why is that, do you think?
I think human nature is to focus on negative things in general. Like we gravitate towards negativity. For example, the news. On the news, majority of the stuff on there is the negative stuff that happens in the world, the bad things. Even with COVID-19 going on and stuff, it is something that's bad. I'm not saying that it isn't. It's something that's bad that's going on. It's something that we do need to worry about. But they never talk about the positive things that have been happening from it in terms of like less people having it or the amount of people who aren't dying from it. We don't hear about that on the news. It's more so the negativity. People, for some reason, just fester and like to be in a negative space. It's comfortable. It's scary to think about, oh, well, you could just solve this problem by doing A, B, and C, and it's done. It's like, no, I want to be mad about it. I want to stay mad about it. So I don't know. I feel like it's human nature. We all do it. And even me giving these tips, I sometimes can stay in the negative place. It's easy to stay there, but I think where the change comes is that inner conversation you have inside your head with yourself, and you have to
Mm.
pull yourself out of it. So I'm good at pulling myself out. Do I get there? Yes, but I can get out of it.
Yeah, I think that's important. And even like with the growth mindset,
Mm-hmm.
if you know, um, I think it's similar in terms of. So I was reading this book. It's called Mindset. I forget the author's name.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a really awesome book. And anyway, it's about growth mindset. And in the book, the author talks about how we can have a growth mindset in, let's say, our relationships, but in a different area of our life, we can have a fixed mindset. And I think it could be similar with like having that positive mindset as well, in terms of like with certain things that happen, we have more of that positive mindset. But
Mm-hmm.
with other things in our lives, we may have more of a negative mindset. So, for example, for me, um, so football, so for soccer
Mm-hmm.
for you guys,
Yeah.
that's a huge passion of mine. But I noticed that kind of with that, I don't want to say like more negative, but because it's like such a huge passion of mine, and I
Mm-hmm.
like means so much to me, like that sport.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose I'm more, uh, I don't know, less optimistic about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. It's weird, kind of like
Yeah.
how I've developed that self awareness to notice it, like compared to other areas of my life. So,
Yeah.
I
It's
think,
like you're harder on yourself.
yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
I think people just like then it comes into that conversation of self awareness to notice the things that maybe they are more negative about. Um, Towards the things that they are more positive about, and then I think once you're aware of stuff, then you can start to change
Exactly.
it.
Yeah, you have to boost your awareness when you know. So it doesn't mean it's going to completely stop tomorrow, but when you become
Mm.
aware, I get negative when this happens in my life. You can point it out every time, and the more you recognize it, the more likely you are to be able to change that behavior.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yes.
um awesome. What's your second tip?
So my second tip is to talk out your feelings. Now, this is big in terms of like even with communication in general, and a lot of people suck with communication, and that's in relationships, friendships, sibling relationships, family in general, a lot of us are not good at being communicating in an authentic way, because we can sit here and communicate and talk about how we feel, but it's kind of like surface level, even though it goes a lot deeper than what you're talking about. But I think that having an honest conversation, whether it's with yourself or if it's with a trusted friend or family member, sometimes it's just journaling, because maybe you don't want to share with other people, but journaling is a huge thing you can do, and that's like talking to yourself, really. But I think that talking out your emotions can help to be rid of negativity. Because if you're in your head about something and it's causing you to think badly about yourself, or maybe you're thinking about a situation that has happened in the past and you're not letting it go, it causes all of that to just be bottled up inside of you. And you just have all this negative energy and you're taking it out on other people, not even recognizing you're doing it because it's so deep within. But if we learn to talk things out from a young age to now, you release some of that, you release a lot of that energy actually, and it just makes you more aware of your own feelings and emotions. Like, you don't want to bottle things up. It never has a positive effect in the end. So I would definitely say talking out your emotions, the good and the bad.
100%. And I think for me, even like journaling has helped me with that.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I think for people, whether it is talking, but like get any way that people can find to get it out of their head ultimately, or kind of out, you know what I'm saying? So whatever way
Yeah.
that people kind of want to express that. So maybe journaling could be a start for people, and then start to more communicate it
Yeah.
with people. It's a very timely tip actually. Like yesterday, I was thinking about. So I wrote a blog post on my experience with like social media and how to use it to build community and
Mm-hmm.
connect with like-minded people. And kind of in there, I was quite open with kind of my challenges, anxiety, depression, etc. And so finding a like-minded community on, using social really helped me kind of through that process.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of, I was thinking that people can actually also, now we've got the tools, and like most people have like the internet and mobile phone, and well, people obviously will watch this. They can actually start to create content
Mm-hmm.
around the feelings and the thoughts that they are having.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, obviously, that's kind of out there, vulnerable, and
Mm-hmm.
everything. But I think if people kind of want to go all in, per se,
Mm-hmm.
I think that could be a way also to do it, because then you're going to also at the same time gravitate like-minded people towards you and
Yeah.
build that community. Um, of course, you're always going to have the people who are more haters and kind of everything like that. So maybe like
Mm-hmm.
there has to be, a certain amount of personal growth to kind of deal with those. But I
Yeah.
was thinking about this yesterday. Yeah, so I don't know your thoughts on that, but I was sort of thinking about this yesterday, that that could also be another way in how people can start to share and be more open, and share those thoughts and feelings, and at the same
Yeah.
time build that community.
Yeah, I think that that's huge. Like, that's something that I really try to do on my platform, especially my blog platform at Practically Poised. Um, my main goal, so what I had noticed, and this was part of the reason why I decided to transition my blog from fashion into more focusing on mental wellness and just being more positive and things, is that a lot of times we'll see people who are successful and they're doing these great things and they're inspiring. It's like, oh my gosh, I want to be just like that. But they don't feel as reachable. You don't feel like you can just talk to them. You don't feel like you'll be like them tomorrow. Like, they're kind of just
Mm,
further out there. It doesn't feel like you guys are on equal playing grounds. And right now in my life, I was like, I'm starting this entrepreneurship journey, speaking into existence, and I already know I'm going to be successful. I'm going to make all the things that I dream about happen. But right now, while I'm in this beginning phase, I want people to see, like, okay, this is how I'm starting before I get to where I'm
mm,
supposed to be going. So I try my hardest to be super authentic, to be super real about the things that I'm feeling and going through in my regular day life as an entrepreneur, as as a recent college grad, as a person of color, all of that. Like, I try and be honest about what I'm feeling, why I'm feeling it, and when it happens. So I do that a lot in my stories, and also especially in my captions for my photos. Like, I try and just be super authentic and raw. And yes, it's putting yourself out there, and it can be kind of scary to just tell people, oh, I get insecure about my body and this is why. Like, telling people that, it can be scary, but I put that fear to the side and I just put it out there, because there's other people who are going through what I go through, but they might not feel comfortable talking to someone about it. So if they can hear that I'm going through the same thing, or they're also trying to start a business and they're feeling what I'm feeling, it helps them to open up in their own way, or at least to be able to reach out to me, because I've had people reach out and talk to me based on the things I've talked about.
That's it. And I think that's definitely like the powerful side of it. So,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Awesome. So Sam says you can't compare yourself to people that are years ahead of you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And got
That's like, there's a quote that I'm not quoting it perfectly, but it was along the lines of you can't compare someone's chapter 10 to your chapter 1, which is like what he said, but it's
yeah,
true. You have to stay in your own lane at all times. Even people who you feel like, okay, but I'm better, I'm smarter than them, I have more of a business mentality than they do, or whatever that you're thinking, you have to just stay in your own lane, because your time will come when it's supposed to come. And if you're not ready for it yet, that's why it hasn't gotten there yet. And there's still stuff you have to learn in order to get there.
100%. It's part of the journey. Part of the
Yep.
journey. So awesome. What's the third tip?
So the third tip is another simple one. It's to get fresh air. So I'm not someone who really likes to be outside with bugs and stuff, especially in the summertime. I hate it sometimes, like, be sitting in the grass and little ants crawling on me. Like I can't. But as of recently, I went to this no, it was like last summer. I went to this wellness workshop, and it was a lot of like being outside doing yoga, no shoes on, walking in the grass and looking at nature for 5 minutes. And I'm not sure what those bowls are called, but it's like, I think it's something people do when they meditate, and it's like makes the sound, and it's like a bowl. And do you
Okay.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what it's called. Yeah. So that, and they were doing, it was a lot of that and just meditating the whole time. And I've never done anything like this to that extent, but it was so nice, like being outside. Like it got to the point where I couldn't even feel the bugs, I didn't see them. I just was really one with myself while I was outside, and it was a beautiful feeling. And now I go outside all the time. I just had a picnic with my sister yesterday. Like, I'm always outside. It really is refreshing, and it's just nice to clear your mind for sure. It's nature can truly take your mind off of things when you allow it to.
Again, I shared a post about doing the basic things
Mm-hmm.
the other day, and I think
Okay.
that there's power in that. And being outside, exercise, I think for me is like it's all linked in one way or another. Is one of
Mm-hmm.
those things. And if I'm in a negative state or just an unproductive state of mind, go for a run. Back when I come back, I'm kind of new state,
Exactly.
ready to go.
Exactly.
You know, and even like on the run, like I'm actually, but for like any challenge, right? If I'm having a content, like can't think of content or something, go for a run on the run, like 5 pieces of
Mm-hmm.
content just come to mind. So
Yep.
for me, the exercise and being outside is one of like the basic things that we
Mm-hmm.
know to do. Like exercise, go outside.
Yeah, I feel
Uh,
like there's
mm,
just so much power in the simple things. Because
mm,
like, I don't know if you've ever, like, there's sometimes where I'm like in the car, not so I'm in the passenger seat, so I'm not driving, and like, we forget to really pay attention to like the small simple things that are just around us. So again, speaking on nature, if you've ever just been in the car and it's like afternoon about to go into night and you're on the highway driving and stuff, you see the road and everything, it's like, oh, regular, whatever. But if you just take a moment to really just look up at the clouds and stuff, it's like, it's amazing. Like the world that we live in, it's, when you really think about it, it's like, wow, like we really like live here. Like the world, everything, how it look, it's so peaceful, like just laying there and cloud gazing. Again, it sounds simple, it sounds cliche, it sounds like seriously, but like it really is helpful, and it really makes you feel so good when you just allow yourself to come at peace and just be one with the earth, with nature, the bugs, the squirrels, everything. Like it's so empowering.
I think it put things also for me. Like I completely agree with you. Um, the thing for me is that it just puts everything into perspective as well. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like when you are just noticing nature and just fully being in the moment, I usually go into like a reflective kind of state of mind Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it just kind of like you say, like shit, we live here. You know, like you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That's I just go into that state of mind, you know, and just reflect on kind of that and some deep thoughts about life and kind of everything. But you
Yeah.
know, that's kind of like the place I go. And so, you know, I definitely agree with you there that connecting with nature, but just being outside, exercise, kind of all those types of things
Mm-hmm.
completely lifts your mood and helps with that optimism, that positivity and everything.
Yeah. It probably would be even like a good habit to like do your journaling, which is like talking out your feelings to yourself while outside. I haven't done
Mm,
that before, but I feel like that probably would be this whole next level of like just
yeah,
opening up and getting to know yourself.
100%.
So I have the fourth one, which is to remain grateful. You need to remember the things that make you happy and keep you grounded and just that you're grateful for in general whenever negativity is like rising up in your life. Because, you can think about the bad stuff. It's like, oh, I'm so angry that this is happening, this is happening. But when you take a moment to just think and be like, you know what? But I woke up today and someone else didn't. Or, you know, I have loving parents in my life who support me in what I'm trying to do. Is it really worth it to be angry that I don't know, just that whatever happened, or like that you had an argument with a friend? Like, is it that deep? It's not. Like, life is too short to, hold on to that negativity, to hold on to the anger. Sometimes you just have to reflect and be like, you know what, I'm grateful I have this person in my life. I'm just going to squash this argument because time is short. Like, we have a lot of time, but we also don't have any time. So like taking time in the morning, I know I've seen when I look at like the morning routines of successful people, a lot of them do gratitude writing of some sort in the morning or right before they go to bed. Just writing out 5 to 10 things you're grateful for. That's it. No, it's not anything hard to do, just 5 to 10 things. And it helps to keep you grounded and thinking about those things whenever you are in a negative space.
For sure. So on gratitude, I kind of have two things. So one is like a principle I try and live by in terms
Hmm.
of expect nothing, appreciate everything. And
I
that's
like
been
that.
real powerful for me.
Hmm.
And the second point is I kind of go into this place in this definitely because I follow Gary V. Um,
I love
he,
him.
he talks about the chances of being a human being is like 1 in 400 trillion or something.
Hmm.
And so when I go into that place, like the ultimate thing I'm grateful for is that the fact that I'm here. So
Hmm.
everything else, like I don't want to say like everything else doesn't matter because obviously things matter, like the world's challenges and
Hmm.
problems that we face. But like I don't know, it's really hard to explain for me to explain. But like when
Yeah.
you just kind of get that actually the chances of you, like me, Luke, with this my eyebrow like this shape and kind of like all those
Hmm.
small details,
Yeah.
and kind of go into that place of mind. It just again it puts things into perspective, and so you're so much more positive. You're so much more optimistic, but
Hmm.
you're also so much more grateful that you're here. And like you say, even when you wake up in the morning, it's like, wow, like I woke up, something else didn't, and kind of all these other different things. So
Hmm.
that's like where that stems from me is understanding that fact that when I came across that from Gary was the chances of actually being here, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like when you think about it that deep, it's like, wow, like I'm here. I could have been an ant or something.
That's it.
Like, but I'm here. Like, and you just have it's like, and then it makes you think about your why. It's like we all are here for a reason. We all have a higher purpose that we're supposed to fulfill. So it's like, when you're sitting around holding on to negative energy, which takes you away from that purpose, which takes you away from living your life, because again, you could have been an ant, but you're here. So live your life to the fullest ability and just, take advantage of that. And again, like with the being able to wake up in the morning, these are like, it's like everyone assumes they're going to wake up the next day, but there's some people who just don't. Or maybe you're driving to the mall or something, and some people don't get to the mall safely, or they don't make it because of a car crash or something crazy, but you did. You got to the mall. Like you have to think about life in that way, when especially when you're in those heavily negative spaces, whether you're angry at someone or you're feeling insecure. It's like, what can I be happy about today? And it forces you to be positive. Like, you don't even have to try. You just get more positive when you do that on a daily basis.
It does, and like that's why I love expect nothing, appreciate everything, especially with the
Yeah.
morning thing you just mentioned. Like people expect, oh, tomorrow I'm gonna see tomorrow, I'm gonna wake
Mm-hmm.
up tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of I think that's just repeated throughout life ultimately. And so when you
Yeah.
don't have any expectations and you're just constantly grateful and constantly appreciating things,
Mm-hmm.
I think again it puts you into that higher state ultimately.
Yep.
And I just can't help also always coming back to that kind of realization about like the chance of like 1 in 400 trillion or whatever the crazy number is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so even when like life's challenges happen, especially as like entrepreneurs, but even just in life, of like silly things, that people so often get upset or mad about, like ran out of milk. It's like,
Yeah.
like,
It's like
like
it's not that deep. Just get it tomorrow. Like
you
it's
know,
fine. Yep.
so I think definitely raising the conversation around that gratitude, I think again puts things into
Yeah.
perspective.
It's a
Totally.
huge thing. So my last tip for maintaining a more positive mindset is to gossip less. So we all gossip. Like I don't care who you are, we all have sat around and had a conversation about something we heard. And not all gossip is malicious. So,
Mm,
we all do it. We all are sitting around and we talk about each other. It's part of life. We do it. But I think being intentional about doing it less, especially the negative gossip, or whether, not saying that you're the one creating it or whatever, but if you hear like a negative story about someone, is it really worth it to, sit there and kind of talk about it? Because now you're kind of just all up in their business, and it's negative business. So I already got my own negative stuff I got to work on. I don't want to carry their load too, because we're talking about what's going on in their life. I think and that's kind of what I talked about before when I said, like, focusing and staying in your own lane and kind of and not comparing yourself to others. But this is more so in the sense of like, stop worrying about what is going on in other people's lives. Because when you do that and you focus on you, you can become a better version of yourself when you're not talking about everybody else 24/7. Get yourself together and get that more positive energy growing in you before you start, doing the gossiping and stuff. And, we all do it, but you have to be
mm.
mindful.
So I think when I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
I can relate to that. If I'm honest, like maybe I'm like weird or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. If I'm being completely honest, I don't really talk about anyone to anyone, like
Okay.
completely straight up.
Okay.
Like literally, most of the conversations I have is with people I connect with online and family and that.
Mm-hmm.
Family and that is just about family stuff. People I connect with online, it's more about conversations we're having right now, like purpose and
Yeah.
like how we can help and support each other to grow.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, like you say, we've all gossiped in the past, and
Mm-hmm.
I have in the past. But I think since being on like this personal growth journey, I can't necessarily remember a time since, especially in like the last year, I would
See,
say.
but that's the place that we need to be at.
Mm,
So I think that it's great that, like, you've been on this journey, you've been becoming more positive. It ultimately, it's like wanting to talk about other people kind of melts away because you don't care about what's going on in other people's lives on that level, to where it's like, oh, did you hear that this is what's
mm,
happening with her, or that's what's happening with him, or that person cheated on this. It like, it doesn't really matter as much because you're like, I'm trying to like become my higher self. So I don't really have time to talk about that. It naturally happens. So I'm not, so when I say like everyone does it, obviously there's a small percentage who doesn't do it, and you're part of that. And I think that's the place that everyone wants to be. Like, and I can admit I
mm,
do gossip sometimes, like with my family. I'm talking about things that are going on in the family. It's like, it just
mm.
happens. And it's not necessary, and again, it's not malicious gossiping or anything like that. But in terms of in my own time or with my friends, I don't care to. So usually when people are talking about other people, I'm just more so listening to the conversation. It's like, oh, okay. But I'm more focused on me. I really don't care about what's going on in other people's lives to that level, or their personal lives. It's not my business.
I love you say that because I am exactly the same. And I think sometimes because again, like I have people around me who do that, and then
Hmm.
like it's funny that then they try to like involve you, and you're like,
Yeah.
like I just don't care, and like I might say to them like I don't have no interest what, I don't know, Bob down the road is doing. Like, I don't care what he's
Exactly.
doing, you know. But I
Exactly.
think sometimes then people think like you're coming from this place of like ego, etc., where you're so focused on yourself, and it's not that at all. You know, I don't know if you've kind of found that where you're like, if or you get that vibe of where like,
Mm-hmm.
do you know what I'm saying? Like, if people think like you're so
Yeah.
self-centered or like self-focused that you don't care what other people are doing, and it's not necessarily I don't care what other people are doing. I am focused on kind of what I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
um, but I think it's like a different place. Like, I don't necessarily care what somebody is doing, but I'm there to support them in
Yeah.
like a venture. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm
Like I feel
explaining it
like
bad.
I feel no, I get what you're saying. I feel like there is a difference between people who kind of just are talking about the things that are going on in life, the people in their lives, whether it's family or friends. It's like, oh, did you hear that this happened? There's a difference between that type of gossip and the malicious gossip where
Mm,
you have a friend, let's say you have a friend where you guys are walking through the mall and every time someone passes by, it's like, oh, did you see her outfit? Like that wasn't even cute. Or oh, did you see that couple? They think they're so cute. They're not even cute together. Or oh, like her hair doesn't even look nice today. Or this store isn't nice. The stuff in there is really cheap. I would never want to buy from there. Like I don't know why. Like it's just negative, but back to back to
mm,
back to back. So like
yeah.
when that's the type of gossip that I'm talking about. Like the malicious gossip, the things that are kind of just like unnecessary conversation. That's the gossip I talk about. So it's not just like we have conversations about each other, just talking about life. So that's different. But like
Yeah.
the unnecessary negative gossip just puts negativity into your own life. And again, you're focused on trying to become a better version of yourself, your higher self. And you don't have time to take on other people's negativity. It just really takes away from you at the end of the day.
100%. And like, just quickly on that, I think it
Mm-hmm.
goes back into the point you mentioned with gratitude, because if you're kind of grateful for kind of obviously life itself, etc., it's like that example I said with like the milk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who cares? Or like, it just doesn't matter that, you know, you walk down the street and that couple thinks like they're the best, like, or whatever it is, or
Mm-hmm.
like the examples you shared. Like, I think when you're kind of in that place, like those things just don't matter ultimately.
Mm-hmm. It
um
doesn't. It's not like I really don't like if I see the couple, for example, and they're being like doing lots of PDA and they look really happy. I'm more so like happy for them. Or like even people like if we want to talk about like entrepreneurs, for example, there's some people who will see
yeah,
another
yeah,
person's success and they'll be, let's say they made their first $1 million and they broadcasted it. It's like, yeah, we're so excited, blah, blah, blah. You'll have another person who's entrepreneur trying to do the same thing who's your friend and they send you a message saying, did you see that they just said they made 1 million? Like, I doubt that it was organic. It probably was because they knew this person, or it probably was because X, Y, and Z. Why is that necessary? Just be happy for them, you know? Like that's a form of gossiping as well. I think, we just have to be there for each other, share each other's accomplishments and be happy for one another. Like, no, I didn't make my million this year, but it will come. And I'm gonna be happy for that person and what they made, as opposed to coming up with reasons why they don't deserve it or why it probably isn't true.
yeah.
It's a waste of time.
100%. I completely
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
um Awesome. Do you have any final thoughts on like positivity or anything? Well, guys,
Um, yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
if we take questions as well if people have them. But
Yeah, no, I mean, my main thing is like, I feel like we have to spend, so those were my the end of my 5 tips. But, I just feel like we have to spend more intentional time trying to be more positive. And ways you can go about that are helpful or that contribute, not only the ways that I showed here, but even following people who promote positivity, like following Luke or even following me. We share positive stuff on a daily basis, or listening to a good podcast like the Secret to Success podcast I talked about
it's
before.
a great one.
Really great podcast. It's casual, it's not too like business focused, but they talk about real stuff that you can incorporate in your life. um Reading more books on positivity, like right now I'm reading You Are a Badass, and
Yeah,
that's a really good one. But just having that positive energy in your life, and it sounds so cliche, it sounds so like being dramatic, like not everything in life is so perfect and happy, but it can be if you choose to have it that way. You start to notice a huge change in your life because I most definitely did. It's very hard for me to be negative at this point in my life, but you have to
Hmm.
be intentional for sure.
I think that's it. Like I'm the same, like optimistic, positive, etc. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not naive enough to think like no bad stuff happens. Like I
Exactly.
know
Yeah.
bad stuff happens, but even in the bad stuff, it's like, okay, this is a bad situation, or this thing bad has happened.
Mm-hmm.
What's something here that we can learn from, or what's something here that we can grow
Yeah.
from, or what's
There's
something
always a
here that
positive that you can get from it.
exactly like what's something here that we can use ultimately to move forward. And so I think even with that, like accept that bad things happen. Don't think everything's always amazing, but then when bad things do happen, like have that mindset of turning
Mm-hmm.
it into, or just taking one thing
Mm-hmm.
from it that
Yeah.
can be seen as an optimistic thing or a positive thing.
Exactly. You just have to like you said, you have to find the lesson in most things. Like I would say probably like 90% of things you can find a positive outtake on it. There's some things in life that I probably haven't even experienced that you can't, or maybe it's a lot harder, but most things you can. And a good example would be like with COVID going on. I'm in New Jersey, so I'm like really close to the epicenter of where it's happening in the States. Um, and I'm pretty close to New York, which is where it's like really big. And I haven't been affected by it or had any family members in terms of contracting the actual thing. But, a lot of people my age and even me, like it's like we're stuck tired of being stuck in the house. I want to go back out. I want to be with my friends. I want to just move how I want to move. Um, for me this summer I was planning on just really traveling a lot and I wasn't able to. And I can sit here and be mad and be negative about it, but instead I chose to use it I chose to find the lesson or the hidden positivity within it. And for me, it would be that it forced me to kind of get more focused on my business and to really start handling things and moving my process along faster. Because I've always been focused, I've always been handling my business, but I was moving at a slower pace before, and this forced me to have time because I can't go anywhere. Like we were on lockdown, things are slowly opening up, but I can't really do anything. But it forced me to be in the house and like get your crap done. Like stop wasting time. There's no going out on the weekends. There's no excuse. Like get your stuff done. And it's been amazing. Like I feel like it's my business has been improving a lot as a result. So that's the positive that I look at from this, negative situation.
100%. Again, it's again, I shared it in the blog post I wrote the other day, which was
Mm-hmm.
more focused around social media, but I was sharing about kind of you find what you look for, part of it. And so I can go on to, I use Twitter as the example,
Yeah.
and find a bunch of negative stuff, but I can go there and
Mm-hmm.
find a bunch of positive stuff. And
Yeah.
so
I
it's like
like that. You find what you look for. I've
find what
heard
you
that
look for.
before. Yeah, I
So,
love that.
that would be like my final takeaway for people, is kind of where are you focusing and where are you looking ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Exactly. Exactly.
Awesome. Guys, any questions, leave them in the comment section. Is here on Instagram the best? So here on Instagram is the best place for people to connect with you, learn more about what you do, and reach
Yes,
out.
yes, yes. So Instagram is the best place in terms of connecting with me. That's what I use the most. So if you want to follow, see my content, or if you want to personally reach out to talk about something, definitely send me a DM or you can email me. I have all of that on my profile for both my blog page, which is at practically.poise, and for my social media firm, which is at Poise Media Firm on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time
Yes, thank you
this
for
evening.
having me. This has been a
No
really good
worries.
conversation.
It has
Yes.
100%. And yeah, some great tips, a lot of value here for our listeners. So,
Hmm.
guys, definitely go over and, well, yeah, follow both of us for more
Yeah.
positivity and
Yes.
mindset and
Added
everything.
positivity to your feed. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, I will let you crack on with your day. Thank you so
All
much,
right.
and I'm
No
sure we'll be in
problem.
touch.
Have a good one. All right.
Enjoy your day.
Bye.
Bye, guys.